Support my content by becoming a patron on patreon.com/JaianMusic.
Hi guys, and welcome back to a brand new episode of Anime Podcasters. Today what we have on tap for you is a very special episode where we're going to be talking about the most influential animes for myself and Hotshot for the month of July 2020. It is myself. I am very excited to present this episode for you guys. I am Jaian. You might see me around as JaianMusic. So let's get right to the topic. Hotshot, how's it going, buddy?
Where am I? What am I doing? I thought we were done. You said we were done.
What do you mean?
You said we were done. You promised me a vacation, yet here I am.
Okay, it's been... I don't know where to take it from here. I don't know where to say that.
Look, you're the sound engineer. I'm the improver. We have to have each other.
I mean, I'm very excited to be discussing this influential anime topic with you.
I am too, actually.
It's
been one that I've been wanting to do for a while, but we've just had to put aside for other big time stuff happening in a life. Not mine, I'm sure, but someone's.
Yes. Probably someone else's. But we recently did the 5-year anniversary podcast, which was really fun with the voicemails and everything. I love the bit with your boss calling in. I've re-listened to that clip like 20 times.
That is now my least favorite bit. Like mad props to the guy who actually recorded that for us, but at the same time, just like, I hate you specifically. Like him I'm fine with. Him I'll probably be friends with. I just hate you.
All right. So, what went into your list when you were picking the most influential animes for yourself?
So, for me, of course, as far as you guys know, whenever we do list podcasts, I try to make it very personalized. So, I went with a personal list of mine, like ones that maybe a certain genre that got me interested. Like, what was my first slice of life? What was my first... or action oriented or anything like that. I went with that because it got me interested in that genre and in more anime in general. So if not for these shows, I wouldn't have explored the other genre or the genres I'm going to be discussing.
So more personal.
Does that make sense? Yeah, because that's what I do with lists. I do personal picks. Like, I don't really think on a global scale. I think like, okay, what would I want to see on a list? And that's what I put on the list.
No, fair enough. For myself, I went for like very influential anime that popularized anime that are the foundation of like franchises that are the foundation of the anime community that everyone knows by name at the very least. So the forefront. I tried to like not stay within shonen as much as possible because shonen obviously has the big three and all the other animes that people relate to through that company. So that's basically what went to in my mind. Because when I'm thinking influential, I'm thinking of animes that have had a long-lasting career that is still ongoing or not, and that changed the movement itself. But Hotshot, I think I would like to have you go first to discuss your first personal anime. I think it's gonna be a good way to just start dissecting everything, because we can start off with like the realness, and then like I'll be able to finish off with like the big general thing. So I would like to offer you the first pick. Go ahead.
Okay, I'll go ahead. I would like to say that I also try to stay away from shonen because that can be like a really big influencer for a lot of different people. Like for example, on that one, DBZ, for example, influenced like a granddaddy of shows, or like Dragon Ball in general, or like other people were inspired by Naruto or Hero Academia or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I honestly tried to stay away from shonen because I feel like all of them have, to a certain degree, inspired me in a number of ways. But no shonen shows have actually made it to my list. All right, so we ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
So the first one I'm going to talk about is actually my first slice of life anime. Like, this one got me interested in just the mundane acts of characters that like we can see go throughout like daily activities, or like things happening in things just happening in daily lives, and like over exaggerated like reactions and stuff like that. It was actually going to be Lucky Star, because that is a wildly known slice of life anime, but I've actually changed it because there was one that I saw before that actually inspired me to like these kind of shows. Even though this one has a little bit more of a twist to it, but for the most part, it's still slice of life. And that would be the Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya.
Okay, so I've heard you discuss this anime multiple times. Obviously, I've not seen it. But go ahead. Why? This is your first personal pick, so emotions are attached for sure. So please tell me all about it.
So this one I've seen when I was younger. Unfortunately, I haven't seen a whole lot of it since. But it stars our main character Haruhi Suzumiya, who is getting bored with everyday life, who wants like excitement, who wants to basically get more out of life than what it's giving her. So she starts the SOS Brigade in hopes of basically finding like paranormal activities or like time travelers or aliens. Basically, she's going through like all these fictional things that she wants to see if actually exist in real life, and she hijacks our main lead character Kyon in order to solve this, because I think she kidnaps him because we need another member for her club in order to actually be recognized so they can stay together, and brings in Mikuru Asuhina, who is a senior and the incredibly like shy girl. Like think Hinata from Naruto. Like she's incredibly she's incredibly shy. She doesn't really speak up. And she also brings in Yuki, the silent bookworm character, who basically just sits in the corner and reads and just has like that driest of monotone voices. And a majority of the show is just Haruhi going throughout like daily school activities. Like there's the school festival, there's them trying to hunt down a lead, and basically just there is an overall story, but a lot of it just results in them just doing like normal mundane school stuff. I think the most recognizable thing is the episode where this actually might be the pilot now that I think about it. Where Haruhi tries to make a movie, and she makes Mikuru the star, basically makes her into a magical girl, and basically just follows like she's the director. She always speaks like from behind the camera. Mikuru was almost the only one in front of the camera. And another big instance of it is there's a lot of costume changes with Mikuru that Haruhi just kind of throws her into. Like there's a bunny girl suit, a cheerleading suit, a swimsuit, I'm sure. But later on in the series, it turns out that everyone who's actually come into the SOS Brigade is actually not at all that they seem. And they tell Kyon, but they don't tell Haruhi, because Haruhi is actually connected to it all, even though she doesn't know. So Mikuru ends up being a time traveler. Yuki ends up being an alien. And they bring in a third guy or another guy, but I can't remember what he ends up being. So there's that twist of paranormal activity that we were hoping for, and that Haruhi has been searching for since the beginning. That also keeps me on my toes, but it doesn't happen until like midway through the show, if not later. And sorry, I keep getting tongue-tied here. And leading up until that point, it's just slice of life stuff, just doing like mundane school activities like a car wash or a school festival or a haunted house and stuff like that. And then it just leads into the paranormal activity stuff.
I'm trying to understand, like, I understand like the plot and like what the story is about now with this character, but it was your first slice of life, and what made it so super influential?
It made it okay
as an anime.
So the influence,
not like that. The thing is, wait, because the thing is like influential to you. I get that, but we're still making a list of like the most influential anime. So what, other than just influencing you, and please get into what influenced for you. What's influential about this anime? Like, what's the precedent it set? It was long running, for sure. I from what I can see, 2003 to 2011. That's 8 years. You can't take that away from it. It's popular for sure. I've seen this character around. I've heard of this anime before. So I'll give it that. But what's influential about it?
It's influential because the characters are memorable. Like that's where the main strength of it comes from, I think. Like Kyon is a skeptic. He's always the questioning type. Haruhi is the happy-go-lucky leader type of saying, hey, let's go do this, and no, it's not an option. Mikuru is the shy and submissive type, to where like she doesn't stand up for herself really. Yuki is the quiet bookworm, where again she just reads in the corner. It just has like all these stereotypes and characters that are in anime that actually stick with it, that almost kind of one of the first shows to actually have all these characters together in a single group, but also have the characters like reacting off each other, actually discussing things instead of just being like the jock character who's just a bully, or the shy girl who just like doesn't do anything and is just there to look cute, like not intelligent or anything, or the bookworm character who just like is completely silent with no purpose at all. And on with so the characters are definitely the strong suit, and I feel like a lot can be taken from that. But it's also influential because it has fun with its other works. Like the same studio that made Haruhi Suzumiya made Lucky Star, for example. And if we go into Konata's room, we see Haruhi statues everywhere. We see her with Haruhi posters. There's a Haruhi Suzumiya soda commercial in the show. And Konata, who, fun fact, is actually Haruhi's voice actress, I learned that from Kyo, ends up working in a cosplay cafe that isn't, when we see her at least, she is dressed up like Haruhi, and the other characters are dressed in the
tidbits,
show. It's influential with its other shows
that go into other animes. Okay,
right.
Sorry, repeat what you said.
It has tidbits of it that go into the other shows that the same studio have made. So it basically drops its most popular character in almost every installment of shows that they make. They've made Haruhi Suzumiya, Lucky Star. I know there's more, but I can't name them off the top of my head.
Oh, no problem. I'm just like, cause I came across this Reddit post about this. It says, "How did the melancholy of Haruhi
Suzumiya
change the anime industry?" And then a lot of people are saying the light novels and the twists and turns of the anime. Would you agree with that?
I would, yeah, because I'm the kind of guy who likes the slice of life stuff a little bit more, but I also like twists and turns of like where it turns out there's supernatural beings at play here, and that's just like my personal preference. But it also opened me to the slice of life stuff. If I had to pick my favorite slice of life, it probably would be Lucky Star, because that is slice of life through and through, just completely regular people going throughout regular problems and doing it in such an exaggerated way. But if not for Haruhi, I probably wouldn't have even known that genre existed, or I would have known about it like way late in the game.
Right. I just feel like it almost seems to me like the light novels are more carry the influence.
They probably are, because there are actually a lot of anime like that the manga or the light novels carry a lot more weight in being influential. Like, for example, Trigun. Like, a lot of people know the Trigun manga. A lot of people know the Death Note manga. Like, Death Note as an anime, obviously, a whole lot of people know. But Trigun as an anime is like rarely talked about. But like a lot of people do, that I've seen at least, do talk about the manga itself.
Right. I just I feel like the influence, you can say it's influential. It's just I think what takes away from it being influenced is that it's very much cornered into the slice of life genre.
Yeah, but like I said, my picks are very much me.
Yeah.
So
no, for sure. But like, we're still like, this is still like the most influential and like the influential anime podcast. So I'm trying to like, I understand. I attribute like that, like it's your personal point of view, and I understand that. But from a point of view of influential anime, I think that what takes away from its influence is the fact that it's kind of cornered into that genre, and it's kind of hard for it to bleed outside of that. But to its credit, it's long running. It's popular. It has a strong fan base, and within its genre, it seems to be one of the more popular ones. So that's the point to it. I'm just talking in like a generic thing. Not everyone knows about this anime, but the people who like Slice of Life will probably know this anime. Is what I'm trying to say.
Okay, I get what you mean.
All right, should I go to my first pick?
Yeah, I think I got everything I need to say about Haruhi. Like I said, I went into this planning to talk more about Lucky Star, but Haruhi holds a front runner place to me.
For sure. All right, so let's go to my first pick, and I'm gonna have to collect all 7 Dragon Balls because that's my first pick.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, but you can't have a podcast about the most influential anime without talking about Dragon
You're
Ball.
right, you can't. That's why I didn't pick it. But you also said you tried to stay away from shonen.
But me trying to stay away from shonen and not in a most influential anime podcast is very difficult, because it's unfortunate, but the truth of the fact of the matter is that shonen just has the more popular anime.
No, trust me, I'm completely aware. That's honestly why I left this side of things to you to talk more about like a globally inspirational scale, because I had a feeling you'd at least talk about Dragon Ball. I had a feeling that would be one that you talked about that I could get away without talking about. And why I took more of the
Dragon Ball
list.
Yeah, it's a popularity. It's what popularized anime for America and like in North America and everything. It's what brought anime to us. It's probably a strong reason why we have this podcast. Its franchise is massive. It has Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball GT, Dragon Ball Super,
Dragon Ball games.
Super Dragon Ball, the games, the movies,
the plush toys,
the spin-offs, the cosplays, in every single convention. You can't go anywhere without seeing Dragon Ball. There's like actual literal Dragon Ball conventions. You have a YouTube community of Dragon Ball YouTubers. The soundtracks of Dragon Ball are reorchestrated and played across the world. We're talking about millions and millions and millions of fans gathered around. I have some statistics here that I pulled off from Wikipedia, so I don't know how accurate they are, but apparently in 2001, it was reported that the official Dragon Ball Z website recorded 4.7 million hits per day and included 500,000 plus registered users. You know what I mean? And it goes further than that. The term Dragon Ball Z ranked 4th in 1999 and 2nd in 2000 for like search results. So it's crazy. It's insane how big this anime is.
That and can I bring up a fun fact real quick?
For sure, go ahead.
Recently, we had the Super Dragon Ball Broly movie come out, and it was only in theaters for a limited run of days, and nearly every theater that was playing it was sold out of almost every single show. That is how popular Dragon Ball has been, at least in the States and outside of Japan. It's spread so much that if you even say something, hey, we have Dragon Ball, guaranteed you'll run into a fan who either already knows what you're talking about or is just going to be hounding you for more details.
Yes, Dragon Ball's influence is literally undeniable. It's a master. It's arguably the most popular anime ever. It's for sure in the top 5. It can't be denied. You just can't deny it. And the characters and the story are super strong, supporting reasons why this anime is so popular. There's so much to this anime, and it has fans being super hyped up. I'm sorry, but I remember seeing a video of an arena of people watching the final episode of Dragon Ball Super. And is it okay if I say what happens at the end of Super, Hotshot? Do you care?
Nah, go for it. I mean, I've gone to the Tournament of Power and I've just kind of put it down. So no,
go. Yeah, I'm sorry, but I have to. When Frieza, and I actually described this to you before, when Frieza and Goku take out Jiren, and we see Jiren being knocked out of the Tournament of Power and appear on the bleachers, and so that means that Universe 11 is eliminated, the entire crowd gets up and roars, and you can feel the energy, and you're not even there. You just can't deny how amazing this anime is and its popularity. I love Dragon Ball. I'm a Dragon Ball fan at heart, die-hard fan. I've seen a bunch of the movies. I have a bunch of the posters. I just love this anime so much. So yeah, go ahead, Hotshot.
With what? Just my thoughts on Dragon Ball?
Yeah. Like I was asking you questions. If you have any questions to ask me, like everything, anything, and everything.
Dragon Ball for a lot of people was probably the first shonen that they've seen. Was it your first shonen though? Just because I'm curious.
I think Naruto was no. You know what? No, it was my first shonen for sure.
Okay.
No, definitely.
Mine was honestly Naruto. But when I first saw Dragon Ball, I was still in elementary school. Luckily, I remember me and my best friend at the time. We would basically go to the far end of the playground that we were in, and one thing that we would always do because we were nerdy even back then would be we would try to fire kamehamehas at each other.
Yeah, everyone does that, you know?
I mean, you can't be a Dragon Ball fan and not try to fire Kamehameha or a Super Beam Cannon or Destructo Disc or Gather Energy for a Spirit Bomb or Solar Flare, or basically, like, even though these are completely impossible moves to pull off, you still find yourself doing them because, like, you emulate with these characters, you love these characters, and even though, like, yeah, they still have super and everything else, let's say hypothetically that they just stopped at Z, they would still have, like, I feel like they would still have this kind of pull on people. They would still be as influential as they are. They would actually probably be even more memorable because they'd be done, they'd be over. And a lot of people talk more about things that are over, you'd think, than things that are still going on. Like, I do love Super from what I have seen, but at the same time, I feel like everyone's favorite iteration of Dragon Ball is still going to be Z. I mean, hell, they just released a new game for Dragon Ball Z for, well, not new, but you know what I mean, for Kakarot, going throughout the entire Z universe. And it was one of the most best-selling games, at least on the PS4, out there. And I am one of those people who pre-ordered it because I love Dragon Ball. So if something like that can happen to where something that has been dead for years, just that specific generation, just Z, has been dead for years, and something new on it comes out and it's still getting like top sellers ranking, that shows miles of how influential that canon can be.
There's the manga for Dragon Ball Super is ongoing at this very point in time that we are recording this podcast. It's June, almost July 2020, and the Morocco, whatever the villain is called, I think it's Morocco. He is like the main. There's a new villain. He's that it's him, and like Dragon Ball Super is still ongoing. I actually want to do a quick plug. I highly recommend 2 Dragon Ball podcasts that I listen to all the time. They're great. One of them is called Up on the Lookout. It's hosted by Masako X, and the other one is called Kazin Shu. They're both incredible podcasts about Dragon Ball that I listen to all the episodes. And like, just like think about the memes, over 9,000, I'm a firing my laser. Like, these are undeniable, like, influential memes that have occurred. Team 4-Star, like, doing the whole abridged thing. There's sport players that, like, rep Dragon Ball. We've seen so many artworks of, like, Supersonic, like, being inspired by the Super Saiyan. Boros and One Punch Man looking like a Super Saiyan 3. I could go on for days and days of how many references Dragon Ball has in other shows. It's just infinite. It's almost
there's
infinite.
Even one specific reference I want to talk about real quick because it's in one of my favorite shows. In Codename Kid Next Door, there's an episode where numbers 1 through 5 remember things or remember the same mission in different art styles and in different ways. And the way number 4 remembers it is he becomes Goku and goes Super Saiyan. Like that is an actual thing in an episode. And he's fighting, I want to say, someone who looks like Frieza. It could be Cell. No, I think it's either Frieza or Vegeta. I don't remember who. But, oh yeah, it was the delightful children from down the lane. They turned into a great ape. So it's just like it's referenced even in Western culture, in stuff that we make, we still reference it because of how influential it is.
Yeah, I'm looking at this like quote, the Kid Next Door. I just remember. I actually the other day randomly thought of this show. I was like, I should have just marathon it. But apparently it's a gumball Kamehameha that number 4 shoots.
Yeah,
why not?
Because it's amazing.
Like, it's amazing.
I love Candy. Are you kidding me? But this isn't about Western cartoons. This is about anime. So I keep opinions of what I actually like to myself.
It's just, yes, Dragon Ball, super influential, and undeniable. So that's all I have to say personally.
Okay. I think on Dragon Ball, I think we're okay.
Go ahead.
All right. Back to the personal list. So this is not the first show of its kind. I actually just fact-checked that while we were talking about Dragon Ball so I could be sure. However, it is the first one that I saw. And that show is Digimon Adventures.
You see, this is a pick I can really get behind. Like this, like the Melancholy whatever show is influential in its genre. This show is influential. point blank. Like
this show,
you know what I mean?
No,
Hotshot?
I know what you mean, because Digimon. So let me get started here. Digimon has been out since 1999, and it was almost inspired from Pokemon. In fact, I think it actually just was. But they made the monsters digital. So there was a new world to go into. There was a digital realm where all the Digimon would start with or would end their names in Mon, short for monster, of course. And it's gone for multiple seasons. It's had multiple movies, and it even just got refreshed recently, like I think either last year or this year, for new Digimon Adventures on Netflix, starring the original cast. So it's still like being wildly talked about, nowhere near as much as its predecessor for Pokemon, but it's still out there. There are still fans out there for this. There's still games being made. The Slither Sleuth series. There's a whole bunch of games out there. There's DVDs, there's blush, there's toys, there's a whole bunch of stuff. Digimon is everywhere. And honestly, if not for Digimon, that's what inspired me to start liking the characters with their little companions that they go with. Like that, it's that kind of genre. It's kind of weird to put into actual words for it, but the overall quest that they go on, it's one master or trainer, or is it tamer? I think it's tamer in Digimon, but anyway, one tamer,
Death Note
one
wielding human.
one human, one non-human partnered up, and they go on a quest together.
Yes.
And Digimon is what inspired me to love shows like that. Like I love side animal characters, but where it's an actual partnership where you actually get along and actually that is who you're with through this quest. I love shows like that, and that's honestly why I love Pokemon too. So as a kid, I was first exposed to Digimon and watched through the first 2 seasons, but then I just kind of put it down, and then Pokemon got its talents in me and I just started following nothing but Pokemon. But recently I've fallen back in with the Digimon crowd since the Cyber Sleuth game got released. I got slowly more and more curious and slowly more going to my roots, to the point to where I got the second Cyber Sleuth game. I went on Amazon and bought a PS3 Digimon game from my past, and I bought the entirety of Digimon Collection. Like it is that rooted in me. Like even if I forget about it, I still can't forget where I come from, and Digimon is that to me.
No, I completely understand how like big of a deal this show is to you, but this show was a huge deal just in general, and I definitely think it's not as big of a deal as it was. But like when it first came out, you can't deny how big Digimon was. Everyone was watching that show on Teletoon. Everyone was buying the Digimon games, and I remember like binging Digimon all the time. My reasons for Digimon being influential are personal as well, because this show, for people who are our age now, for the 90s kids, was the childhood anime that we watched and that we loved, that we couldn't get enough of. We loved Tai. Tai was such a relatable character, and the gang, they just worked together so well, and there was just a rival Pokemon just enough for people to notice it. You know what I mean? And that's what was so great about it, is because, you know, they both finished with Mon, and people were like, oh, and they associated it with Pokemon, which only brought more eyes onto Digimon. So from a marketing perspective, super smart, because people are like, oh, it's just digital Pokemon. I love Pokemon, so I'm going to watch Digimon. And it wasn't like a copy and paste. It was like influenced by Pokemon and like reworked and became its own machine, because it's a digital show. Obviously, the games, the music, I'm sure there's many other communities out there for Digimon, but definitely, undeniably, an influential anime for its time. You know, it has like a run, but it doesn't have a run like a Dragon Ball. You know, it's not on the same level, obviously, but it still has its influence that you can't deny. And I think what puts it over your first pick was that it's not cornered in a genre. This one's like widespread, way more widespread than before. So the question I would like to ask you is, what is the most influential thing about the show, outside of your personal reasoning, though? What's the most influential thing about this show that you can pull from?
Probably the fact that like it is so similar to Pokemon. But aside from what it has differently from Pokemon that it can be influenced from, is Pokemon has the story of Ash trying to be the, and I quote, very best there ever was. To catch them is my real test, to train them is my cause. And so it's his quest to basically just beat the league and be champion, where Digimon takes it to where it's an actual quest. There's an actual threat that the Digidestined actually has to overcome. So it has the same kind of properties as Pokemon, but it has more of a story driven to it, to where there's actual peril, there's actual danger. Kyo and I actually just saw a video on it that talks about the deaths in Digimon, to where people can actually die. So it actually goes a step further than Pokemon that's family friendly. And Digimon actually shows consequence. There's things going on that that people can connect with more, as opposed to just having cute animals fight each other. And I feel like that's what resonates with people a little bit more. Pokemon does have a much wider fan base because a lot more kids are exposed to it. But for Digimon, it probably has more of a cult following than anything, because of it goes to that extra level, and that's what people can take away from it.
I agree. I completely agree. But I still think that the missing component, or the fact of the matter, just naturally, is that it died out. You know?
No,
like,
yeah,
even though
I know, I get it, and it did come back. I think with 4 short episodes, or 4 movies for the new Digimon Adventures. So there is still fans out there, and there is still content being made slowly, but at the same time, it has absolutely nothing on Pokemon. It has nothing on Dragon Ball, and has nothing on One Piece. That is still going, and is still the same series.
100%. All right. Personally, I have everything I've had to say on Digimon, unless you wanted to say anything else. So I think we can.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
All right. Hotshot, I do this once in a while where I make you pick my next guest, and you never get it right. I guarantee you, if you use your head right now, you will guess my next pick. 100%. It's not. It's the first thing that just came into your head just now. That's the one. Just say the word. Just say the word.
Pokemon.
Oh my god, it's Naruto. Oh my god.
But it's Pokemon. Go ahead and talk about Pokemon. Screw Naruto.
It's Naruto.
Pokemon's way more influential.
What was the last thing I was talking about? Dragon Ball. And I told you my list was based on Shonen. And it was the easiest setup. And I give you these super easy softballs every time. And you just look at them and they land on the ground. And then you're like, meh. And I can't sleep at night anymore.
Good.
All right, Naruto.
Pokemon.
Gotta not catch any of them. All right, in all seriousness, my next pick is Naruto. And this is a vastly popular franchise. Not as popular as Dragon Ball, but definitely influential. Undeniably influential. How old were you when you watched your first episode of Naruto, since it was your first shonen?
God. I want to say I was about 9. I might have been 10.
Exactly. I was around the same age as well. I love this show so much, and I'm trying not to be personal here, but just how long running it was. I think Naruto Shippuden has over 500 episodes. I think the Naruto original one has over
Naruto
episodes.
original has I want to say 350 if you can include the filler.
Yeah, no, I do include the filler, definitely. And just think of the memes, up until recently, when the whole Area 51 thing was happening, invaded. What was everybody gonna do?
Naruto
run. You know, it's still. It's woven into popular culture in so many different places. I was looking and I came across this article, and it says that there's appearances from Naruto in Adventure Time, Bakuman, Ben 10, One Piece, The Simpsons, Assassination Classroom, Deadpool. In the Marvel comic, Deadpool references Naruto's speech on his dreams of gaining respect from his village and wanting to become Hokage. So there's just a bunch of stuff here that Naruto has influenced, and we just think of the fandom. Naruto is everywhere. Everyone loves Naruto openings, and the series technically is still ongoing with its continuation of Boruto, which is another fairly popular anime, which actually, just so everyone knows, Boruto was delayed because of COVID, and it's coming back July 5th, so I'm super excited for that personally. And just everyone loves this show, and everyone knows this franchise. Naruto is such a relatable character, and his struggles and the storyline is super popular, and we all love it. I was looking at other articles about this popularity and like its reception in the Weekly Shonen Jump. Naruto ranked like as one of the top 5 characters in the beginning of 2012. It was basically, honestly, if I had to put how Dragon Ball Z, the anime of 1990 was Dragon Ball. The anime of the 2000s was Naruto. You see what I mean?
Even though it came out in 97.
No, but like it got really popular
In the
in
2000s.
2000.
No,
it
I know.
boomed. It boomed in the 2000s, and Dragon Ball boomed in the 90s. Naruto was all over the place. Games, music, conventions, manga, the actual series itself, spin-offs, AMVs, so many AMVs. Literally,
one of my speaking of AMVs, I just want to get that out there. One of my favorite AMVs ever that I watched when I was a kid was 3 Days Grace, Animal I Have Become, and it was Naruto turning into Nine-Tailed Fox.
Oh yeah. I can relate to that. I have seen so many AMVs. Ben and I literally, Ben is my friend that's been on the podcast a few times. Whenever I would sleep over at his place, we would binge Naruto, and we would binge the Forest of Death, and we would binge like the tuning and exams and everything. I came across this article called Masashi Kishimoto. Fan letters from overseas made me realize the popularity of Naruto. Back in 2014, people would actually write Masashi some fan letters, and that's when he realized that that's what like made it clear to him that Naruto was like a big deal, because people took the time to like, when an anime is really popular, you don't necessarily know who the creator is, but when an anime is so popular that your fans are taking time to write your letters and mail them across the freaking ocean, you've made it. That's like a nice sign of respect from the fan base. And the Naruto subreddit is booming. Every day new posts. There's Naruto Facebook groups and Discord servers. Everyone loves the show. Everyone puts Naruto as their profile picture. The Sasuke strangling meme recently, like last year, was a big boom as well. Like, just so many things point to the popularity and influence of Naruto. So go ahead, Hotshot. Give me your thoughts.
I actually just want to share a couple memories I have of Naruto and how much it's actually stayed in my life even since then. So when the when the series finale was coming out for the original Naruto, for the for the Final Valley episodes, you remember?
Yeah, of course.
So me and my best friend at the time, we were still in elementary school. I stayed at his place for an entire weekend because they were showing the episodes just the entire weekend. So like part 1, part 2, part 3. So I stayed the night at his place. We stayed up all throughout those nights, and we only played Naruto Ultimate Ninja 3 on the PS2 while we were waiting. So we were playing through the Ultimate Ninja series and watching the shows when watching the episodes when they came out. It got so much to the point to where I bought a Jiraiya headband as well as a Naruto headband. And it stayed to that point even since then. Like Naruto, unfortunately, I don't spend as much time with him as I do now. Or I don't spend as much time with Naruto now as I did back then. But he is still wildly one of my favorite anime icons ever. And another memory I have of it is when I actually first met Kyo, the thing that he was crazy about at the time was just Sonic, and the thing I was crazy about at the time was Naruto. And we were bickering back and forth about like what one was better, and how like he's actually never watched Naruto up until that point, and I've like dabbled in Sonic, but not really all that much. So when we first became friends, I showed him Naruto, and that's like it became Naruto Abridged. We bought so much Naruto stuff. He's bought like a lot of Naruto plushes. I bought more Naruto games. When we went out one summer, we bought the entirety of the original series. It's influential and it stays with you, especially if you love it that much. And it is completely widespread. Like if you do the Naruto run, everyone's going to know what you're doing. If you're charging chakra, most people will know what you're doing. If anyone takes one jutsu away from Naruto, it's probably 100 or 1,000 years of death though. Because I've had that happen to me so many times.
Man, I don't know how you guys do it in America. That's just weird. I've never had that happen to me once, and I like being in Canada for that reason. In all seriousness,
only for that reason, though. Just no fingers up butts. That's why he loves being in Canada.
I wanted to say the reason why we have this podcast
is Naruto.
It is Naruto. What was the first episode about?
Naruto.
what is our longest running episode? This one, wait, catch it. Just saying.
I
right
think
now.
our
We're going.
I think our think tank, right?
The Naruto. No, it's the Naruto. We went over the whole Naruto series. That's our longest running episode.
Naruto in a bubble.
You know what I mean? Yes, Naruto in a bubble.
Oh shit. Okay. I thought it was think tank where we came up
Nope.
with Naruto jutsu. Naruto is
See,
everywhere on and off of this podcast.
I just love Naruto so much, and you can't deny its influence and its ongoing influence, and it's probably going to go on for many more years to come because the Naruto character is still very much present as a supporting character, but very much present in Boruto itself. And Boruto's journey has just begun, and
until we hit
say-
Boruto Shippuden, then it's just like, okay, now you're just milking it.
which it will get to that. There's no way this franchise is going anywhere. I predict right now we are in 2020. I predict that the next 10 years we're gonna still have Boruto or just some sort of Naruto continuation. Naruto's for another 10 years guaranteed. It's around. I'm gonna put that out there in the cosmos. I really love and respect this show, and I think I've had to say what I've had to say about it personally. Just a great influential show.
Honestly, I'm gonna, like, you guys know we love Naruto. We know we love Naruto. It's influential. There's a worldwide fan base dedicated to it. If you love Naruto, you love Naruto. If you don't, you don't. But you probably do.
But the thing is, you know Naruto.
Yeah, you at least
That's
know
what
it.
makes
Like,
influential.
if you love it, great. If you hate it, you still know it. So still
Exactly.
around.
Like a guarantee.
Like
guarantee people know.
there's people like me with Boruto that just don't really care that it's out, and people like Jaden who love Boruto. We still know it,
Love
but we have
Boruto.
different thoughts about it, and that's fine.
Yes. All right. Your final pick, Hotshot.
Okay, so I just want to say straight up, this one is just influential to me. Like, there probably is more of a fan base for it than you know, but it is nowhere near as widespread as the two that we just talked about. So it's nowhere near as big
All right,
as...
I just want to say something I just want to say one thing first, though.
Yeah.
If I don't recognize it by name,
Yeah.
that's gonna be a bummer. I'm just gonna put that. If at the very least, I've heard its name before. That's the lowest my expectation can get. So I really hope that's the case.
The only way that
Go ahead,
I promise
Hotshot.
you, the only way you have is if you've listened to me, because I have talked about the show before.
All right, go ahead. What is your final pick?
My final pick is Rosario Vampire.
I remember the name.
Okay, so we're
There we
good. That's all you know, though. You know nothing else.
I remember you speaking about a character from Rosario Vampire.
That would be Mocha, the
at
main
some point.
character.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Coffee. I remember now. All right. Go ahead.
Fuck you.
No, that's how I remembered Mocha. Honestly.
No, I know you said coffee. That's why I'm saying fuck you.
What? Why? I don't get it.
I thought you were making fun of me. Moving on. So I'm picking.
Sorry. Go
I'm
ahead.
picking Rosario Vampire because this was actually my first harem anime. And if not for that, then I wouldn't have been exposed to, honestly, and I know how dirty this is going to make me sound, but I don't care. I wouldn't be exposed to my favorite genre of anime. And I actually do really like the harem animes. I like Date Alive, DxD, Monster Musume, Rosario Vampire, Heaven's Lost Property. I love all of these shows, and Rosario Vampire was my first one. Out of all of them, probably the most influential to talk about, at least from your perspective, Jaden, would definitely be High School DxD. But for me, it was Rosario Vampire because that was my first one. And it inspired me to panty shots, boob jokes, it was the first experience of anime nosebleed that I've experienced. There's just a whole lot of firsts with this show that I've carried with me throughout the years. And until recently, I didn't remember it at all. Like, I was trying to remember what that show was, what I watched when I was younger. It got me really into that side of the anime, the dark side of the anime. And eventually I found it, and we actually end up buying the complete collection for it, which I love. And honestly, it has more of a cult underground following than anything. Like, if you search for it, like, I'm sure a number of people know it. It was at least successful enough to get 2 seasons, but outside of Japan, I don't really think it really took off all that much.
Right. I'm looking over here at the Rosario Vampire Wikipedia page, and it is only popular through its manga. From what I'm understanding, the anime itself, and this is influential anime, and I know it's a personal pick, the anime itself is not as big as the manga. The manga is way bigger than
So
the
that
than
fits.
the
So that
anime.
fits what we were talking about earlier, alongside Haruhi Suzumiya, where a lot of people prefer the manga over the anime. I'm just the kind of guy who hasn't read much manga, so I have the anime to go off of.
Yes. But like the manga itself, I'm looking here in North America. The second volume of Rosario Vampire was featured on Bookscan's top 20 graphic novels, ranking number 6 in August 2008 and number 16 in September 2008, with the fifth volume ranking number 7 in 2009. So it's cracked top 10s many times, and I'm looking the highest like. Some of its manga has peaked at number 1 before. So popular for that reason. Rosario Vampire, and it Yalsa included Rosario Vampire in its list in the 2013 popular paperbacks. Yeah, the anime is influential to you, but the anime is not influential necessarily. You see that? You see what I mean?
No, I know, and that's why I said it was a personal pick.
Yeah, of course. But I'm just like, obviously, I just like my point of view is always gonna be more on like we have different point of views, so it's interesting to go to back and forth with you on this one. It stays personal, but like outside of like you.
Yeah.
What has this anime influenced? You know what I'm saying? Do you see what I mean? Because we even though it's a personal pick, and I respect it's a personal pick, and I'm happy you have something like that for you. It still needs to be influential as well, just in general. And the last two were influential, you know? Rosario Vampire was influential for sure. And its genre, I don't even see this one being necessarily influential in its genre. Like, or argue with me. Am I wrong? Am I right? Like, what do you think?
Honestly, no, because not a whole lot of people, at least in the States, from what I've seen, not a whole lot of people know that the show even exists. Like you might know that the manga exists, but the anime, like I said, it's underground. It's cult following to where like if you meet someone that actually does like it, then they probably really like it. Because it's really gothic. It's a harem anime. It has monsters in it to where it's to the point of like you have to know what's in it in order to like it, of course, as is with everything. But it didn't get popular enough to be like widespread like wildfire, like say Dragon Ball or Pokemon, or have like multiple episodes or multiple installments of say One Piece. That's what I was trying to think of. Or hell, even Fairy Tail. But it's still like the fans that remember it and the fans that went back to it in the first place, they're the ones that carry that on. And I'm one of those fans. And if not, like I said in the beginning, if not for this one, then I probably wouldn't have I probably would have watched High School DxD at some point because of like how obvious it is. I say as I'm looking at my my statue of Reyes, funny enough, but I probably wouldn't have found other shows like it. Like it also had Monster Girls, which I actually didn't like until I saw that show. So like Monster Musume probably would have been out. DxD I probably would have been a little iffy on, or basically like humanoid non-human characters as a whole is kind of what it took with me. Like humanoid looking robots, for example, or characters that are actually vampires like Alucard and Ceres. Like they look completely human, but they're not. This was my first kind of exposure to that. So that's also another thing that I took from it. Worldwide, definitely not as influential as a lot of our other picks, or all of our other picks rather, but there is still there with the people who still enjoy the show.
No, I see. I like cult following, I think is the right way to put it. But that's what I'm just thinking. Like, if there wasn't a cult to it, it wouldn't like even been like ground lifting, you know, like lift off the ground. But at the same time, like the characters, the way you described them, and like and like just the ambience of the anime itself, I understand that like it's appealing to you for what it presents because that's like what you are a fan of. But at the same time, I'm sure there's other animes out there that like in that same genre that have those same influences, or those same aspects that blow it out of the water. But like the manga is the one like plus I can give it. Like the manga for sure. It's going around. How long did this anime run for exactly?
2 seasons, so about 2 years.
Okay. I mean, that's better than 1 season. It's not the worst possible, but it's definitely like on the lower tier of of influence. And once again, I understand like it's only personal. I just because we're doing an influential anime podcast, I need to like bring it up to the scope of like actual influence. And we have completely different points of view on that. But like I think. Do you agree with what I'm saying, or your thoughts on that?
I do agree with what you're saying, but at the same time, I've just like the whole reason I made mine personal was so like we weren't really talking about the global aspect of it. Like definitely Digimon does have a global global influence over it. Haruhi Suzumiya definitely does, even if it is a little bit smaller. But a lot of it is my first and like what actually got me into that specific genre in the first place, and that's exactly what Rosario Vampire did to me. If I was going based on what like just the criteria that you're using, I definitely would have talked about DxD. I just wanted to connect more with like my connectivity here.
Right. I completely understand. Okay, I have a my final pick ready to go. I'm actually gonna switch. Originally, I was going to bring up Cowboy Bebop. I think we all know that Cowboy Bebop is influential, especially with the upcoming live action. But I'm going to have to go full shonen. I'm going to have to go full shonen Hotshot. We can't have an influential anime list without this anime. What do you think I'm talking about? Come on.
Death Note?
One Piece!
What?
One Piece. I'm saying I'm going full shonen.
So you're going, you're just straight up going the big three.
The big three, yes. And I'm sorry, but they
you
fall
said
under
from the beginning of this episode that you tried not going full shonen, or that you tried not to pick any shonen, and then you pick all shonen.
Yes, but I also did say like 30 seconds ago that I'm switching. So I'm switching. That's what's happening right now.
At least I'm true to my word, where mine were personal and none of them were shonen shows.
I mean, you could be that as
you're a liar, and I'm honest.
Mine are more influential than yours.
Yeah, worldwide. I said mine are personal.
Yeah, but
I said from the get-go, they're influential to me.
On an influential anime podcast, the more influential animes are coming from me. If I had gone personal as well, this podcast would not have worked out, okay? So I'm doing your job for you.
Even though this is going on your channel.
No, I'm just screwing around.
No, I know.
In all seriousness.
I'm giving the shit back that you're firing. It's fine.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I'll shovel it down. All right, in all seriousness, longest running anime ever. 929 current episodes as the recording. And there's going to be another one next week, so might as well just say 930. And the week after that. This anime has been going on for so long, and it's everywhere. You can't like think of anime without thinking of One Piece.
Hell, actually,
Luffy.
In the intro to my side podcast, PontuCast, link in the description, you guys can, or in the intro, my character Hotshot is doing the Luffy third gear pose. Like, it has influenced us over here a lot as well. I just wanted to throw that out because I remembered it. Sorry.
No, for sure. I found a bunch of interesting things. Over 400 million circulated volumes of the first volume of One Piece. The first volume of One Piece, over 400 million circulating copies.
Jesus.
That's insane. Freaking insane. One Piece, just it's been going on for over 2 decades at this point. It's ridiculous to even to think of how long this show has been going on. There's literally a meme where a guy goes in a coma, wakes up from his coma, and he's like, has One Piece finished? And the guy's like, no. He's like, okay, I'm gonna go back in my coma.
He's like, okay, take me back, Scotty.
Literally, there's festivals for the films. There's theatrical films, video games, the novels, the art, the guidebooks. There's a theme park based off this show, okay? There's a live action.
Wait, hold up. Are you serious? There's a theme park of One Piece?
The Barati restaurant. Is that an I or an E? I can't tell with my laptop. Barati restaurant, modeled after the restaurant of the same name in the manga, opened in June 2013 at the Fuji Television headquarters, an indoor theme park located inside the Tokyo Tower called the Tokyo One Piece Tower. Tokyo One Piece Tower. Yep.
That's fucking amazing.
I'm just saying, the manga, the reception is insane. The anime itself, there's been a bunch of films and adaptations of it. And 4Kids, obviously, being the company, I guess, criticized. Still, this is one of the more successful series. There's so many things you can say about this show, but I just. For you personally, Hotshot, One Piece, you've never watched it.
No, I've watched it. I've watched 300 episodes of it.
Oh, really? So you watched more than me in that case?
Yeah. Well, I just kind of stopped, or it might not have been 300. Honestly, I stopped after the dubbing stopped. If I'm being completely honest, I feel completely bad saying that. I just had stopped, but I do still play the games, and they are actually some of my favorite games.
No, definitely. But like, what do you think of the whole influence it's had on other animes and everything?
Influence it's had on other animes, it's honestly kind of hard for me to say because it honestly takes a lot from Dragon Ball, like from the wild fights to the main character eating like mad to even TFS in one of their episodes calling Luffy Pirate Goku, and on top of it, Naruto Ninja Goku. I had a ninja dream, but it ended.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard for me to say like what influence it has on other animes, but I do know like what can be heavily remembered from One Piece that no other shows really do. Like their mouths and their eyes look like with the massive jaw openings and massive teeth, or like the absurd like scale of the really big pirates and bosses and stuff like that. Like I'm basically speaking from the game perspective, even though the show does it too. Or just the gathering of the crew and getting together for the one specific goal. And it's just honestly, it does so much that it shares with so many other shows. I honestly can't really say what it does that bleeds into the other shows, except for like longest current running anime ever.
Here's another prediction. There is no anime in the next 10 years that will have as many episodes as One Piece.
No, I completely agree with that. And my theory, I honestly almost hope I'm wrong, but my theory is that at episode 1000, that is where One Piece will end.
That's what I was thinking too, honestly.
Like I'm hoping that's what it is, because I swear to God, if it ends on episode 999 or 987 or something, I'm gonna be so fucking pissed.
It would be ridiculous. But like, apparently this anime is literally in the top 10 most viewed weekly animes in Japan. Just, ridiculous stats. Like the anime itself like has won a bunch of awards. And so like you just can't you can't deny how big of a deal this anime is.
It just might not be. Sorry to cut you off. It just might not be as widespread over here as it is in Japan, because the only dub that we have over here is the 4Kids dub, or one of the only dubs we have over here is the 4Kids dub, and we have the Funimation dub as well, but they just kind of stopped after that couple hundred episode mark that I was saying earlier.
Right.
But the 4Kids is an unfortunate accident that we just keep making fun of. Like we make fun of unnecessary censorship. Like one had let's take the character Smoker, for example. He's a character who smokes cigars as well as has the powers of a smoke Lugia. But in the 4Kids version, they filtered out his cigars, but still have smoke coming from his mouth. So it
sounds about
so
right.
It's just like our early exposure to One Piece was unfortunately that. So I can see why over here in the States it's not as wildly popular. Like it still is. Like you'll probably still meet people who really like One Piece. Like I even have a Straw Hat shirt, but unfortunately it's nowhere near as popular as it is in Japan.
I just wanted to finish on the whole American One Piece. Apparently the current company that holds the rights to One Piece is Viz Media. So I don't know if they're going to produce more dubs, or I don't know what the state of the dub is right now. And apparently Bandai America is the company that mostly handles the One Piece merchandise. So I mean,
yeah,
One Piece is still happening.
All the games are Bandai, and I have.
Oh, they are?
Yeah, and I have like 6 or 7 of the games.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I have a shit ton of One Piece games. I love them. I love them all.
There's also like I just want to put that out there too. There's a podcast about One Piece called the One Piece Podcast.
Oh, I have no doubt. No doubt. There's probably several podcasts about One Piece.
But like no, this is like basically like I think the series itself like has recognized this podcast as like like the One Piece like point of reference as a podcast. And they're on. I'm looking right now. As of right now, they're on 626 episodes.
So they probably just blazed through a few things.
It's just it's crazy. So I'm just really happy with this. With these three. So all right, let's conclude everything here. My list was the big three. So I had Dragon Ball, Naruto, and One Piece. My substitute was Cowboy Bebop. Cowboy Bebop almost made it. But if you want to hear me talk more about Cowboy Bebop, you can go see the updates we're doing with Kyo on the channel. And Hotshot, what were your picks?
My picks were more personalized, so they were the Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya, Rosario Vampire, and crap.
Rosario Vampire?
No, I already said that one.
Wait, oh, Digimon.
Digimon, thank you. I'm even looking at my Digimon pamphlet. Damn it.
Literally the most popular one of their picks.
Yeah. And my backup was actually already discussed because my backup was Naruto.
Wow. Had you started with Naruto, we would have had such a good podcast.
Oh well. This one is crap. It's not as good as it could have been, apparently.
No, I'm totally screwing.
I'm throwing it back. It's fine.
Yes, I love how we let each other know that we're not being insulting to
like I'm not being a dick. I promise, dude. I get it. That's why I'm being a dick back. It's fine.
Literally, that's the entire podcast. So the artwork for Anime Podcasters is provided by GoProkyo. So please go follow him on Twitter at GoProkyo for all the artwork requests you have. Hit him up in the DMs. He has great writes and a gorgeous portfolio you need to check out. Link in the description for his social media. And if you want more podcast episodes, we are on Spotify, SoundCloud, all the podcatchers. Just look up Anime Podcasters. We're almost at 7,000 plays. And I want to say it now because I forgot to say last time. Thank you for 200 likes on the Facebook page. Facebook.com/Anime Podcasters. We really appreciate everyone who has been liking the podcast. Really appreciate it. As far as the podcast scheduling, I've kind of talked about this with Hotshot, where I'm getting really busy right now just with life stuff. Just like career stuff is happening. It's moving really well and very quickly. So there might be some months where we do only a singular episode. But we'll see. It might be 2 episodes a month. I'm gonna try to keep doing doing 2 episodes a month. But we might cut back to 1 every now and then if it gets really busy. If it's really dead, then I can do more than 1 episode. We can do more than 1 episode. Sorry. All right. Hotshot, where can people find you online?
You guys can go ahead and find me right. Sorry,
Morty.
You guys can go ahead and find me right here on JaianMusic's channel doing Anime Podcasters and almost nothing else. You guys can also find me over on my channel, Hotshot Ginger, where I finally started doing my own podcast, PonsuCast. I was about to say PonsuCasters. It's just PonsuCast, where we talk about shows that are more my style that Jaden doesn't really have any idea about. It's me and GoProkyo. Currently, we have 4 episodes. We're working on our 5th now. And you guys can also find me over on Twitter at Caution Ginger. But I'm really only there as an invisible ghost. I don't post anything.
You should tweet more, bro. You would be a funny tweeter.
I probably would. I just don't have the self-confidence to do it.
I'm probably really hilarious, but I'm not going to do it.
I'd probably be awesome, but no.
All right, perfect. And for myself, you can follow me at JaianMusic basically everywhere. And for my website, JaianMusic.com, if you want to hire me for freelance audio services. I also want to put this out there. I'm going to have more time in general, too. I know I'm kind of saying that I have less time, but I finished my graduate diploma in film music, and it's officially done. So I guess I'm on the workplace. So if you want to hire me, I actually have time to take more contracts now. So sound design, music composition, mixing, mastering, a bunch of possible audio services are on JaianMusic.com. I also have my portfolio YouTube channel, JaianMusic Portfolio, which is in the channel box of my main channel. Go check that out if you want to check out all of my sound design and composition and mixing videos, so you can see what I'm about. All right, so for myself and Hotshot, this has been another episode of
Anime Podcasters.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you for watching this week's episode of Anime Podcasters. If you would like to support the podcast, you can find audio downloads on Apple Podcast, SoundCloud, and Google Play. If you would like to support the voices in this podcast, follow their links in the description and the Twitter handles on screen. See you next time, weebs.